What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Your Story. Today is the start of our Texas trip, and it brings us to Nick Chapman's and Nick's Custom Detailing out of Bedford, Texas. Before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, which is Sky's the Limit Car Care. Good old Corey Carruth. He decided that you have an awesome story that you want to share, and it aligns with Corey's awesome company as well.
Yeah, he's a fantastic human being.
He really is. You know, the two signs that are behind us mean a lot to with being a detailer. We're C-Quartz professional and finest installers ourselves, and it took a lot of time to get there.
Yes.
And Corey's whole belief around installers is not just the 1% of the 1%, but he can send anybody anywhere and get the same level of service. Mm-hmm. So he's all about, and you know, I share this with our guys all the time, he's all about the value of the person and the value of your expertise. I'm dialing that paint in before you apply the coating. Mm-hmm. How did you end up, choosing C-Quartz over all the coatings that are available?
I had been a ceramic coating installer for, a few different companies in the past, and they're just more business-like, and you're just a number. It feels like. I had a guy come in, and this was so long ago I don't even record it. I had a guy come in, and he had a coating on his car. He was in New York. He had the coating done in New York, and he moved to Texas, and he thought his coating was failing, and since he was living here, he was trying to find an installer to do it, and we weren't a C-Quartz installer, so I looked the car over, and it definitely, something wasn't working right. It wasn't responding like it should with the ceramic coating. And he showed me the information, and it said C-Quartz. So I was using CarPro's products as far as, Sky's the Limit products, and glass cleaners and different things. So I called Corey. I had small relations with him, and I called him and I said, "Hey, this guy's got this car, and his coating's failing, and we need to know where to send him because we're not an installer." I think the guy's warranty was expired like 2 years or something like that. And Corey, he's like, "Well, I'll send you money. Go ahead and do it." So this guy's warranty was already expired, and he's just going to fix it, make it right. So, and that's how, I got hooked up with Corey more, trying to get in the coatings, and then but he still didn't want us to be a true installer. So we were Aaron Knox. We were friends. We're good friends, and he was friends with Corey and one of his right-hand men basically. And he kept poking, "Corey, go get Nick, you need him as an installer." So finally, after quite a while, we became an installer, and It feels like an honor. I mean, they turned down, I think, 95% or 99% of the people that apply to be an installer. I think there's 160 worldwide installers.
Not many.
No, he keeps it very exclusive.
Yeah, he's not about selling the bottles.
No, not at all.
By any means.
It is quality. Definitely.
Quality first, which will obviously turn around, as we can see from your business.
Yeah.
You go quality first. That changes everything.
Absolutely.
So when we first reached out and he knew that we were coming down here, he wanted to be part of it.
Awesome.
So part of CarPro, C-Quartz, Sky's the Limit has all of your detailing needs. Ships out same day, 2-day shipping.
Crazy fast shipping.
It's crazy fast. They put a ton of peanuts inside of it.
Have you ever played with those, or dissolvable in water?
Yeah, we were there for Verge, and they had all the big ones that showed up, like all these big bags, and it was like a playground. I'm not gonna lie. So I was like big pillows. But Corey's awesome, and Sky's the Limit is just as awesome as he is too.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. So for all your detailing needs, make sure you reach out to Corey at Sky's the Limit. His awesome team too. They're out of Florida, which is a place that is important to Nick too in his story.
Yeah.
So let's get started. So Nick, let's jump into it. First off, our drink of choice today is water, brought to you by good old H2O, which I'm good with.
Somebody had a little more too much drink of choice.
So you started. Give us the background on yourself. How you basically came from Florida up to the snow, saw it with your pops, and said hell no, and decided to move down to Texas.
Yeah. So my dad was an engineer for Mercury Outboard Motors, and we were in Posita, Florida, down in Inglewood, Naples area. And he got the bright idea that he wanted to move to Canada, just north of New Hampshire, and go to work for Bose speaker up there. So we all piled up in the car, sell everything, and move. Take this big old long road trip up to Canada, and we get up there. It's probably July or August, and we're in Florida my dad was in Florida for like 30 years. I was born and raised in Florida, so snow wasn't really a part of our lives. We get up there and it's like July and August, and there's still snow on the ground. Me and my dad were like, "Nope, not gonna happen." So we ended up from there we went to Oklahoma, And my dad got a position there at Merck Cruiser headquarters in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And that's what brought us out to this part of the country.
Wow. So did you guys road trip up there, or did you fly into Canada?
Road trip.
Cool. Is that where your love for road tripping?
I've always loved road tripping. You know, grew up as a motorcycle racer, so I traveled all across the country for years and years. And I love being behind the wheel and just getting out.
Yeah. What was the first age, or how old were you when you first got on a motorcycle?
I was probably, starting out probably about 13 or so,
Yeah.
and then kind of, dirt bikes, and then from there moved on to street bikes, and then started road racing in the mid 80s, and just grew so in love with that. The road racing is something it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
So I love doing it, and actually made a pro career out of it, and did that for a number of years until I had a big accident, and wasn't able to ride pro level anymore. So started doing club racing, and I had to get a real job. So I'd already had detailing on the side, and just part-time, very part-time, a weekend here or there or something. But having to get a real job, 9 to 5, and it was kind of a different turn for me. So I got a job at Southwest Airlines, and spent quite a few years there. And then that's what brought me to the Dallas area. I got a position in the dispatch office at Southwest.
That's great. So let's draw it back then to your pro career when you were racing those street bikes. Because I've been on street bikes. I have a street bike myself. I can't seem to hit those triple digits because it's just I think it's another level of human and mental strain that it takes, especially when you're going around a track.
Yes.
At close to 200 miles an hour, if not over, with all these other bikes around you. So can you speak of the energy levels that you had the minute that they basically said go?
Oh, it's just crazy. I mean, the butterflies just getting ready for a race, and it's not, you're going as fast as you possibly can go around a racetrack. You're dragging your knee going through corners, and braking at the very last minute. And in a car, it's, you've got this big, huge cage around you, and it's, it's scary. But and you get on a bike, it's a whole different story, because if you fall, you're gonna hit the pavement.
Yeah.
So it's, and then not only that, you've got the factor of these other guys, and they're just, you're this far apart at times. Sometimes you're touching or something, so you have to have a huge amount of trust for the, the people racing with you.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. Michael and I were talking about it with his R8, how he takes it on the track. This beauty behind us.
That's a fun one for
It's
sure.
exactly that. Yeah, it's the high speeds, the trust in the people. That was the most important part, though. The guys that are around you in the cars.
Yes.
As you're going basically 180 miles an hour to a complete stop before you hit that turn.
Yep.
So bikes, how is it when you put your knee onto the ground? Because I don't know how physics work with motorcycles, but I watch it obviously when there's the races. How does that work?
Well, basically, you have a big Velcro patch you wear a very thick leather suit, and then there's Velcro on the knee portion of it, and there's a puck you put on there, and it Velcros on. It's very strong Velcro. But some of them are plastic, some of them are made of leather, and that just, you grind those down a little bit when you go, and just when you turn the corner and you touch it, it just kind of slides. It glides right around the pavement, and then just kind of wears down, and then you replace them.
Wow.
It's an incredible feeling to touch the ground or hit a curb or something with your knee going down that fast. It's fun.
Were you doing it on the street prior to the track?
I rode a little bit on the street. I didn't like it. It's crazy busy out there, and people don't pay attention, and especially now with texting and driving and stuff. It's just no way. I won't even get on I do a lot of mountain biking stuff, but I won't even get on a road cycle and do that. People just scare me.
Yeah. And then, when you went into that first race, how did you end up getting into a pro career?
I just fell in love with the racing. It just, took over me, and anything I seem to do, I kind of go 100% all in, maybe 150%, just throw everything at it. I just got more and more into it and fell in love. And, it's good to be like a little family atmosphere out there too with all the other racers you end up traveling with. There's a circle of guys that end up traveling all around the country with you, and you guys meet at the next race, and it's like a little family going, always barbecuing and stuff. So it's the entire experience, and it's amazing.
That is amazing. And how was the travel? Were you in a truck? Did you have a trailer?
Did a lot of things. We had a 1984 Ford Econoline van,
Nice.
and it was one of those conversion vans. And then we bought it and ripped out all the seats, so we had all the carpet in there, and it was this is probably it was pretty thick carpet.
Yeah.
Almost shag almost. But yeah, we just load the bikes up in there and travel and get to the wherever track we are and put up a canopy. We sleep in the van and
That's life.
yeah.
And you're still doing it now.
I am.
To a degree. Yeah. So and we'll get into that too. Was your dad traveling with you at the time?
No, he never really did travel with me very much on the racing.
Yeah. What did you have to do to prepare for each race mentally before you got out there?
When I was real in the thick of it, man, I loved it. I couldn't wait to get to the next race. There was times we'd stay out for a month or 2 months, and one weekend be in Laguna Seca, California, and the next weekend have to go to Road Atlanta. One side of the country to the next, and we just make a big road trip out of it. A couple buddies riding with you or something, and just make a nice little fun trip.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite track?
Mid-Ohio is very fun. Virginia International Raceway is very fun. Howlett, Oklahoma is probably one of my favorites. It's a small little track, 1.8 miles, I think it is, but it's the elevation change and the off-camber, and it's just a phenomenal track.
Yeah. Now let's speak about Daytona. Unfortunately, that's the place, correct, that ended your career?
Yeah, it ended my professional career. I stopped racing pro after that race. It was 96, and going down the back straightaway at Daytona, I was running 600 Supersport. So we're doing about 160, 170 miles an hour going down the back straightaway, and then you go into a chicane that's, you get into first gear and then back out onto the banking. And going into that chicane, I hit the brakes and they just locked up, and it went from 170 miles an hour to nothing, hitting pavement. And the bike went up in the air and it kind of flipped. And I was sliding, and it landed right on top of me. And the foot pegs on race bikes don't pivot, so they're hard mounted, they're fixed. So it just went bam, ripped right into my leg, my lower leg, and basically tore apart my ankle.
Jeez.
So that kind of ended that. I still did club racing for probably all the way up until 2015. So playing when just the club
That was recent
level.
that you decided to hang it up.
I hate to say it, you're only as old as you feel or as you say you are, but that had a factor to do with it. I'll be 50 years old this year. So I've got to try and take it down a notch. And, with the business and the responsibility, and if I get hurt, it puts such a strain on the business. So you can't have any time off.
Yeah.
And that was a huge factor in it.
Yeah. So were you racing when you were when you moved from Florida over to Oklahoma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right when my racing career ended. Was when I was in Oklahoma, and I had to get a real job. So that's when I got a job with Southwest Airlines.
Yeah. And I have a passion, obviously, for planes, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Going through getting my license now. I didn't realize until the short stories you were sharing with us last night at dinner about how much goes into the dispatch side of it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a lot of responsibility.
A lot of responsibility. So how was your time at Southwest?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's such a fun atmosphere. It's so family oriented, and just it's super fun. Happy place to work. Everybody has a good time. And when things get when they get rough, everybody's right there ready to dig in and make things right.
Yeah. And what was your position when you were there in dispatch?
I was in the dispatch office. Yeah.
Yeah. And what was the day to day?
Keeping track of the pilots. You communicate with the pilots constantly. Basically, when you get on the aircraft, there's a packet of papers that they hand the pilot, and it has all the weather information, the flight plan, the flight route, how to load the plane, more front heavy, rear heavy, that sort of thing. How much fuel they carry, all that. And that's what we provided, was that information to the pilot, plus keeping track of the pilot en route.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's extremely important.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were 50% responsible for the flight. The pilot was 50% responsible, and the dispatcher was 50% responsible. So.
And what does that mean if something goes wrong? It's on both of you?
Yeah, on both of you. And the dispatcher has more responsibility than actually the co-pilot sometimes. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you decided to basically pick up after 17 years at Southwest and leave the corporate world.
Yes. Very scary.
Basically do what you're doing now.
Yes.
How were you? Because I did the same thing. I left my corporate world. I mean, I was obviously younger than you at the time, but I remember the corporate lifestyle was completely different than owning your own business.
Yes.
It's just different. It's a different atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So I made that same decision. I remember when I made that decision how scary it was.
Yes.
Because I went from making a good salary to basically doing 36 grand in revenue my first year in detailing. So it was a big shift. especially with my wife. We just got engaged too, so that was a good conversation to have.
Scary.
Yeah, hey babe, I'm leaving my secure job and going into detailing. But what was that decision? Why did you make that decision? A few years back.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not getting any younger, and cars have always been a passion of mine. I love cars. I love working with them, and I've always had the detailing business on the side, and working at Southwest gave me the opportunity to grow my business organically rather than dumping a bunch of money or getting a partner or loans or anything like that and trying to make things happen. That's one of the things I'm super proud of this business. I've done it on a cash basis, no loans, no partners, no anything. So, it's just, if it's a good feeling to own something,
Yeah. Just basically taking a dollar at a time, reinvesting it back into the business, gives you a total different feel of responsibility, and it's just a good feeling too, that knowing that you can build it all off basically just a small investment and build it into something else.
Exactly. So being, at Southwest, it gave me that opportunity because I was able to I had this career, so it was actually paying all my bills, and this was just kind of fun money, and I had to, so it gave me the ability to grow the business, more and more and more as I went, and it just got to the point where I was needing to get higher help because I was so busy and still keeping up with my full-time job at Southwest. And, some changes were happening at Southwest, and, it was, the family atmosphere was kind of going away, a little bit more corporate kind of policies and things, so I figured it's time to take a little early retirement and follow my dream, follow my passion.
So did you move from corporate or from Oklahoma down to here fairly immediately after you left Southwest?
Yes. No, so when I was in Oklahoma with Southwest in '98, and then I transferred here in 2000 when I got into the dispatch office.
Okay.
And April of 2000, and then so I've been in the Dallas area since then.
Oh, because you were working out of left field.
Yes.
Cool. So a lot of people have asked me this question too. A lot of people are in the corporate world or have a full-time job and they just want to make that jump. What can you share about that, the decision you made, and is there things that you wish you would have done that you didn't do, or things that you did do that created something incredible for yourself?
Oh God, no. There's so many things. I made so many mistakes.
Yeah. Can you share a couple?
I had so many, what the F have I done moments, like, oh God, can I get my job back? No, I mean, but, I was in a good spot because I'd already had the business built up. I already had good customer base. When I left Southwest, I had almost a 6-month waiting period, waiting list for polishing cars. So, wow. I had, one-man kind of operation. I had a 2004 Chevy 1-ton van. Love that thing. Actually just got rid of it here about a month ago. It made me sad. But, I had that van. I had all my stuff packed in there, so I would drive it up to Southwest, work all day, and then, get off there at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and detail cars or polish cars and on the weekend and stuff. So, but after a few years of building it up and it got so busy, it was time to make a choice. And jumping over, and my dad, he's like, "You're doing what? You're gonna leave a 6-figure career to wash cars."
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Do you feel like it was the right time? If you went back, would you do it earlier or later?
I don't regret anything I did, no.
Yeah.
I had made a lot of mistakes for sure, but I learned from a lot of my mistakes. So a lot of bad decisions, like trying to do my own taxes and
Been there. Yep.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so you get out of corporate, you go in, you had a 6-month waiting list. How did you build your reputation at the time?
It was all organic. Everything I did. I mean, my business was growing to, I started out washing cars and I had a guy named Brent working for me for a number of years, and we'd set up in just corporate parking lots and wash cars. That's how it all started, with the business anyway. And then it progressed into polishing and getting to more high caliber cars and higher caliber, and then it started getting into show cars and more like the 50s and 60s and more hot rod style. And then it just kept growing and growing. It started getting into the circle of car clubs and car people, and it got me a little higher with more exotics and stuff, and kept growing that. And then to the point it was up to doing like Pebble Beach, Concours d'Elegance, Amelia Island, Ferrari Cavallino cars, and the details that get into hundreds and hundreds of hours. So we had a good stable work, and it was fun for sure. It was enjoyable work.
Yeah, speaking of those cars, you had one with Gas Monkey that you did.
Yes, back in 2015.
2015. What car was that?
1929 Ralston Body Packard.
Wow.
One of one in the world. Yeah.
How did he acquire it? Or was it for a client?
No, it was for Gas Monkey, for Richard Rollins. He bought the car, and he bought the car with it had already been in for like Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. They invite the car, not the person. You can't submit your car or anything. They actually find you and then they invite you to the show.
Wow.
But he bought that car with the ticket already. They'd already wanted it in the show, and then had us come in and go over it and clean it up real good.
How long did that take you?
And that was a long one. That was the longest detail we've ever done, and that one was 526 hours.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez. How many guys?
It was four of us. It was myself, Jason Kilmer, Christopher Brown, and then a helper that had working for us at the time, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you guys want to quit at some point? Being on that many hours, looking at the same thing?
No, it was very interesting, especially with the atmosphere and the Gas Monkey crews. They were awesome. I mean, they're so much fun to be around and work with, and it's just you see a lot of drama on the TV show, but it's really not that. It's not that way. And behind the scenes, they're a good bunch of guys. There's a lot of laughs that go on, so it made it enjoyable the whole time.
That's
we
great.
spent about 5 weeks there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did the car win?
No, it didn't. I had some mechanical issues on the lawn. So I think we placed third in class on that one. But they judge everything from the way the car looks to the mechanical features, how it runs. They do a 70-mile drive on like the Thursday before. So you get this huge parade of all these $1 million cars, 7-figure cars rolling down the road. It's a beautiful sight.
Were you able to watch that?
I actually got to drive in it one year.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Oh, so it was there multiple times?
Yes. Yeah. Multiple
Wow.
years we've been there.
So what was the shift in your business too? Because you went from mobile to now having a 5,000 square foot shop filled with some pretty lights out cars in here.
Oh my God, it went overnight. I was a one-man mobile operation and went from that to 5,000 square feet, and I was just like, go big or go home, right? Just
Yep.
do it, all in, burn the boat.
Was it this location?
Yes. I was across the street. There's set up a temporary shop over there while I got this place ready. So we spent about 3 months. This was a wheel repair shop. So they had powder coating machines, ovens, sandblasting booths, paint booths, everything in here. So it was nasty. It took 3 months to clean every rafter, every square inch of wall, and then we got somebody in here to paint. And I had a Trailblazer SS at the time. That was my dream, and it was awesome. 2009 rear-wheel drive Trailblazer SS. It was fully built motor, coilovers, built transmission. It was big old huge cam. It was my favorite. I loved that thing, but had to sell that. So I sold that for $19,800, and then turned right around and wrote a check for $20,200 for all the lights and just everything going in, and that was a big commitment.
Were you prepared at the time to make that commitment?
I thought I was, but there's more to the story, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So you can't predict everything, and so I moved in May. We got the shop done, got it all ready to go. The AC wasn't in, the floors weren't done yet, but it was the bones of it were ready to go. And so I moved in May of 2016, signed the lease, and all that done. I was committed at that time for 5 years.
Wow.
I was like, okay, take some deep breaths and just, you got it, you can do it. It's working fine. About a week into it, it starts raining. And then it doesn't stop. It keeps raining and raining and raining. And I think that year we had 45 days of straight rain, and it was 90 days of rain for a period of time where it was a couple days in between where it didn't rain, but almost every day it rained. It was about 90 days, and a detail shop that's not good.
Yep.
You can obviously they can bring their cars in, we can get them clean, but it was raining so much and the streets were so nasty for so long that you couldn't take them home without trailering them. So yeah, I got a little scare moment. But we got saved. Always have faith, and if it's meant to happen, you can make it work. So we actually got a call from a dealership, which I've never done dealership work before. But it was a real higher end dealership, Sewell Cadillac. And they're like, hey, we need some help detailing some cars because our detail department just isn't doing, they're not up to par, and customers are complaining, and we just want to bring somebody in or bring the cars to you guys and have them do them. So they actually saved us at that time. We had a contract. They were bringing like 20, 30 cars a week. So
Just for details?
yeah, just and in the rain. So that is actually what saved us. Just
Wow.
to, I don't normally do dealership work, but I love. We still work with them to this day.
Yeah.
Just not on that level anymore.
Wow. Yeah, I remember we had or last year now, we're at our 1 year, we got into our new shop. It was a big move. Jim and the team were kept asking for it. The next thing you know, this thing called COVID hits and the
Lord.
pandemic. And it was the day, I swear you're not, the day before I'd cut the check that wiped out our account. The day before, thinking, I was like, all right, we're getting into busy season. It's April now. We'll be able to make this back in a couple months, no problem. And then COVID hits. I remember that I can share with you that just question of, oh man, what did I just do?
So many nights you just like you cry or just lose. It's
Yeah. But we had saving grace, same deal. We had saving grace. All of our clients, we started calling them and saying, hey, we just need help, which is very tough to do, especially for the ego.
Yeah.
To call your clients and say, I need help.
It feels like you're trolling or
Trolling.
trying to.
Yeah, which isn't what we believe in under any means. But you know what? They all stepped up, and the guys that did step up and the gals that stepped up for us, I have a totally different relationship with them now than I did at that time. So I can definitely relate with you on that.
Yeah, you gain a little bit more of a personal friendship with the clients when they do that.
Yeah.
But we had this kind of a similar situation with COVID when COVID hit, and we were shut down. It was a mandatory shutdown. We eventually were able to start working again with an amendment in the order, and they allowed vehicle recovery or vehicle reconditioning businesses to work. But we had nobody was coming in, so nobody was driving anywhere, so nobody was using their car. All the appointments canceled, everything. It was like, ooh, so here we go again.
Yep.
But we had a customer. Fantastic guy. He's been a customer for almost 20 years, and he's helped, his vehicles and his business has helped my business grow a great deal. But I've watched his business grow as well, and he's just doing some remarkable things. But he's made a lot of money over the years, so his car collection got bigger and bigger and bigger, and his spending got a lot more. So
Yeah.
when COVID hit, he called me up and he goes, "You busy?" And I was like, "Well, no, we're a little nervous." He goes, "Okay, I got 20 cars coming to you from Dubai," and I was like,
Oh.
"Yeah, sweet." So we got 20 cars in from Dubai and kind of saved the day.
Wow.
So we had a bunch of work.
Yeah. So building that, getting from that, obviously breaking through it. Now you have, team members with Tristan, who's awesome, dude.
Love
you got
Tristan,
Michelle
he's
in the front.
awesome.
She's awesome too. You got a great team, which is obviously important to a
Yes.
business like this. How did you end up? What was the shift where basically? I mean, I could see your garage now. It's filled up with cars that you just don't see. Like this truck behind us right here, and the Ferrari that's up there, and the Porsche that's next to that.
Yeah.
What's the trust level that how were you able to gain this trust level with these guys to to basically send their prized possessions over to you?
You just treat people with respect, and these are, whether it's a Honda Civic or the Taycan or the R8s or the, show trucks, every one of them is special or it wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So you just treat the customer with respect and make it an experience. Don't just, it's not always a business. There's so many personal level friendships that get built because of the customers. And
Sure.
it's a closer interaction.
Yeah. All right, so we got to get into some fun stuff that you like to do, which is your overland.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
your truck and the trailer that's behind us now.
Yes.
How do you get into doing that?
Well, Mike and Michelle. Michelle, the girl that works for an office, her and her husband are friends, and I've always had a Tacoma or something to go off road and just play, and mainly just to get muddy and dirty and then go home.
Yeah.
It was just more of a toy. But Mike and Michelle, about 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, they got married, and instead of an address to a church or something, they do a lot of off-roading and overlanding and stuff. They sent map coordinates for their wedding.
That's cool. She's behind the camera right now, so I'm looking at her. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you had to have a four-wheel drive truck or vehicle to get up there, and so we went up there and went with them, and then rode in the back of the Jeep, going up the mountain to get to the spot. But right then I was just sold. Getting the mountains and the trees and just the quiet is amazing. And it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. So tell us a little bit about your Tacoma now and the setup you have on it.
I've got a 2014 Tacoma. It's lifted about 3 inches and 33-inch tires, bumper up front and back, winch, roof rack, bed rack, rooftop tent, all the goodies. Yeah, it's set up now. I can leave in a moment's notice and get off on Friday evening, and in 3 hours I'll be in Arkansas mountains, Ouachita Mountains or something, and set up camp for the weekend and just spend the weekend out there. Get out with the mountains, and there's no cell service, there's no noise, no traffic, no lights, no nothing. The stars, the lightning bugs. I forget about lightning bugs being living in the city.
Yeah.
But I don't even download music, so it's total.
So it's a release.
Yeah, total silence. Just in your head. You might bring a book.
Yep.
Of course, you got the dogs, but yeah.
Who are awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Your dogs are great.
They're fantastic. I love them.
Yeah. Can you share that story too on how they came into your life?
Well, the small one, Cookie, she's a Dachshund Chihuahua mix, and I actually got her from a rescue group. She was about a year old, and she was abused, so she was a little timid with me. She actually didn't come around me for probably a good 2 or 3 months. She wouldn't come around me. She was so scared of men. So I adopted her from I got a soft heart for dogs, super. So I adopted her, about 3 days later, a week later, something like that, this other dog just strolls up on my porch, and he's laying down on the porch. He just walks. I would say, watch him. He walks up in the driveway and lays down in the porch, and he just sits, and that's it. He doesn't move. He stays. And after about 2 or 3 days of, I've put water and food out for him and stuff. Couldn't find him at home. Took pictures and put it on posters and stuff. Anybody had him? Nobody wanted him. So I kept him. And he's ended up being the little dog's Cookie. He's ended up being her, just like a service animal. He helps keep her calm and anxiety. She does have real bad anxiety. But so he showed up and picked us, and after a while you look at them and they're exactly the same color, exactly the same markings. I mean, they're almost identical, and they play together so well.
So it's meant to be.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. They were definitely meant to be together.
Yeah. All right, one more thing we got to get into, because you and I share this also, is the art of bartering. Which I know you've been able to bring in a couple things. The business for us too, and the things that we've acquired over the years is bartering too. Can you share with us a couple of things that you've been able to trade in the last couple of years?
Well, I love mountain biking. So, I've got a couple of mountain bikes. They're more, the higher end mountain bikes. And obviously I can't, they could get $6,000, $8,000. I'm not paying that much for a bike. But I will do a correction and coating and yes, maybe some paint protection film for a trade on one.
Yep.
So yeah, I've got 2 transition bikes, one Sentinel, one Patrol back there. Those are both $6,000 and $8,000 bikes. I was able to do that. And the trailer, it's a 2-person pop-up trailer, a little pop-up camper, and it's lifted on 33s. We take it on the trails.
Yep.
So I did 2 polishing coatings for that one.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, one more thing we got to hit on too is you're an OG in this industry. So you've been doing it for such a long time.
Just call me old.
I did. OG, even better. But something that we're seeing a lot of people struggle with, especially a lot of conversations I'm having with these younger guys that are coming into this industry, and a struggle that they're having. It's funny, actually, I'll draw that back, is Gabe Fletcher last week, we were over at his place outside of Philadelphia, and he's completely built his company over SEO, which is unheard of, in this industry. Something that you and I share is that we're big on the referral side of it. We're big on, treating the client right. We answer the calls, and we make sure that we produce, what we say is going to get done.
Yeah.
So with these younger guys too, because, I can only give them so much, what's a piece of advice or even a couple pieces of advice you can give them?
Basically slow down, always do a good job no matter what. Some of my biggest collections I've done they started with a detail. I did the Andrews collection in 2014, 78 cars. They sold for $57 million at Sotheby's. But to get in there, he brought me an old beat-up Mercedes, and one of his employees brought it to me, and it was just in rough shape. And at the time I was doing all these show cars and high-end stuff, and looking back, it was kind of a test.
Sure.
He sent that car over, and just to see how how we would treat it, how good of a job could we do, and then we did it. We did a fantastic. We knocked it out of the park. So always do a good job. Always take the time with the customer. It's not business. Take it to a personal level and build a relation, make it an experience for your customer, not just a business transaction. That's huge. I built my business 100% organically with no advertising or anything, and it's just a good feeling to know that you're recommended by so many people, and then you get into these little circles. And I can remember back in my early days when I was still working at Southwest, I'd do a car for free to get in with the right crowd or the right group, or to do it like $150, and you'd spend like 4 days on this thing, for 10 hours a day, and just to make it right, just to get into this little group and set an impression, make an impression on this group, so you could get some more business out of them or something. So yeah, don't be afraid to lose money. Be prepared. Hire an accountant.
Very important. Bookkeeper.
Yeah, somebody you trust for sure, and get some good people. Be able to duplicate what you do. That's one struggle that I did run across in this business is get more show cars and higher level of cars that we got into. It was getting hard to trust people. I mean, we were doing cars that all original 1924 Rolls Royce that belonged to Charlie Chaplin. We'd have to go in and clean it, and you can't just trust anybody off the street to kind of do that sometimes. So you got to build a good team, or make it something that you can duplicate with your team and make it an actual business. Make money.
Yeah. Well, that definitely connects with Your Able as well, and everything they're doing too. We can see in all the forums and everything, people, when somebody asks, it's Your Able, Your Able, Your Able.
They're
Your
so
able.
responsive. It's crazy.
So responsive.
I mean, it's just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's like, do they ever sleep?
It's a great question.
She's so great. I mean, Chris with the video chats and stuff like that. It's just so. I got a funny story about the video chat. I'm gonna throw Michelle and Chris under the bus here for a minute. But we were all doing the video chat. We were learning how to use the system and stuff. And there's two ways to say you're able, and you're able.
Yep.
And every time Michelle would say it, she'd say you're able, and I'd see Chris rolling her eyes every single time.
All right, so we got to get into it since the reason that we're here is You're Able. Speak about I think it was Barry that got you into You're Able and finally got you signed up.
Hell, he kept poking and poking. He's like, Nick, if you try the You're Able, Nick. So it's like, fine, I'll try it. It took him it took a while, a few weeks of him just poking and stuff, and finally I was like, okay, I'll just do the 7-day free trial. I mean, what do you got to lose, So I think I talked to Chris, and at first, and we got set up on it, and it's been right at the beginning. I was just blown away. This is like, it feels like it's just catered to detailers. It really does. So it was, super easy to use.
Yeah. And how has your business changed, especially adding a couple of team members to your group?
You get to keep track of payroll so much easier. They use the app on their phone, and they clock in, and they clock out for lunch, and they clock out for the day. It's everything's right there and tracked all the time. So you don't have to constantly write things down or punch in and out or anything like that with a time card or something. But the scanning features for the reading the VIN numbers, it's so awesome to use that kind of stuff and just have so much information and especially with the Carfax reporting, the customers love that. They absolutely love the Carfax reporting.
Yeah. So as your business grows and as You're Able grows, what's next for you guys?
We're looking to add one more person to the team, kind of help grow a little bit more. We're going to keep pushing in the, and more polishing coatings and paint protection film. We got a little carried away with the show cars for too long, but now we're kind of toning it down a little bit and getting more into the daily drivers and doing some maintenance stuff and going for more of the protection on the daily drivers.
Cool. Well, Nick, thank you for sharing your story, brother.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Thanks for coming.
This place is incredible. Can't wait to be back for Verge, too, which, speaking of Sky's the Limit and Car Pro, Verge is going to be held here this year.
Yep.
Potentially. Right?
Yep.
So I'm excited to come back in a few months and be here. Thank you. Again, thank you to Corey. Thank you to everybody at Sky's the Limit, Car Care. Thank you to Car Pro. Thank you to Michael, Chris, Kyle, the whole Your Able team. As always.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Make sure you go online, sign up for the free trial. As always, keep shining.